The mortal portal has so many parts, parts that you've probably never been told about, until now. Let's start off strong with these funny little appendages here that are sitting between the uterine tube and the ovary. This is going to be the mesonephric duct, and these are remnants, vestigial structures of the time where you didn't become a man. These are the male components of the tubes that go into the penis. Now let's talk about how the ovaries are held in place, because they're not just floating around in there. There is the ovarian ligament that connects the ovary to the uterus. And then you have the suspensory ligament, which isn't pictured here, but runs from the top of the ovary to the pelvis. And last but not least, you have the broad ligament, which looks like a bunch of webbing that sits across all of these structures and actually supports the uterine tube, the ovary, and the uterus. Now let's talk about the ovaries, because I'm sure you know these produce your hormones, but do you know what in them is producing those chemicals? That would be the egg cells. It's the follicular shell around the egg specifically, but that is why as you deplete your egg reserve, you stop making hormones. That's because they are the structures doing that for you. And even the uterine tube is actually composed of 5 different parts. And you might be saying, I don't trust this guy because that is a fallopian tube. Well, let me introduce you to Gabriel Fallopius, the Catholic priest and anatomist for which it is named. Our first section is going to be the fimbriae. These are finger-like projections that are responsible for trying to pick up the egg and funnel it into the tube proper. The thing is, sometimes they miss, and that means an egg just gets yeeted off into your pelvic cavity. This also isn't a closed system, which means if you have sperm swimming up through the uterine tube, they can actually exit into your pelvic cavity. And once in a while, they may even find one of those eggs, and that's going to be bad. Abdominal ectopic pregnancy is what that's called. Fun fact about fertilization, it does not occur in the uterus. It actually happens in the next part of the uterine tube, called the infundibulum. That's going to be this first section right here. Over the next week or so, that egg will move through the other 3 portions. That's going to be the ampulla, the isthmus, yes, it sounds like you're lisping, and the connection point, which is going to be the intramural portion. After all of that journeying, it will finally enter the uterus, and if it implants, you are finally pregnant. We started with some weird ones, let's end with some weird ones. These 2 antenna-like projections right here are called the round ligaments. On a normal day, they're just kind of holding up the uterus, but while you're pregnant, they can become stretched, taut, tight like guitar strings, and they can cause round ligament pain. And this next one is probably my favorite. This is the umbilical ligament running all the way up to your belly button, and that is because it is basically the remnant of your keg tap. Back when you were a guest in the Hotel Uterati, this is actually how you offloaded your waste products to your placenta so your mom could filter them out for you. These days, if you're lucky, it's generally closed up, but for a few individuals, this can remain open and cause you to pee out of your belly button. And for some people, you can get endometriosis on it, and that will make you bleed out of your belly button. It's a lot to cover. Should we do more?